Are we live? Yeah, we're live. Awesome. Cool. Uh, anyway, yeah. So I just kind of wanted to go over the rest of the Android architecture page that I was looking through. I'll sort of finish that today. Um, Maybe start up with the advent of code challenges. Actually, I just wanted to see if uh 2021. Yeah, so that's about to come up on December 1st at midnight. Yep. So it's the year, like the 2020 stuff is basically what I want to see. Um, had I logged in last time? GitHub, I think. There we go. Fantastic. Okay. So it's sort of like 20, which I've done only one star, 21, which I haven't attempted. So I'll start from 21 because 20 is the messed up one. I remember that 20 is like the super messed up one. I'll start from 21 and I'll finish 21 through 25 and then I'll go back to 20 and finish part 2 of that, and that should kind of wrap up the Advent of Code challenges. I'll see if I can do the rest of the years as well, although not right now, like probably afterwards. Uh my throat's kind of sore. Last night was cold, very cold. I woke up with a blocked nose and well, and here we are. Okay, it's gonna be a short stream, like half an hour. That's about it. But I just kind of want to go through the rest of the Android app architecture stuff. Like, there's still a lot. It will take a few sessions, a few hours potentially. Hopefully this weekend I'll be able to do a little bit more. But I don't know. I might not stream this weekend because I have a few places to be. I have a lot of stuff to do at home as well. But yeah, if I can, I will. So yeah, that's that. Mm, Also, this is what's live, right? Yeah, okay. Okay. So let's see what's up. All right. So we were kind of looking at, okay, so one thing I have actually set up is I've set up Dendron, so I should be able to take notes of what I want. Code notes. There we go. So I should be able to outline. Um, I thought I had created like within root Android architecture. Yeah, I had sort of created like one file into which I can actually type, and let me see uh, what that looks like. Yeah, okay. So few things which I wanted to sort of figure out, right? So okay. So let's see, overview, right? So the main things what I want to make sure is actually, hang on. I think I already have that open. Oh, I already had that open. Yeah, that's kind of what's right. Let me just close that. This is already open. Why does it say November 17? Okay, that's a little bit weird. So I created it yesterday. That's right. That's approximately when I set it up, and right now is when I last updated it. Okay, cool. Um, yeah. Let me just. So yeah, the Dendron app kind of handles that by itself. Cool. So right. So the principles. Right. So the first one is separation of concerns, right? Um, which is basically do not write business logic in your UI. I want to publish these later on. And the second one is basically, actually, if I put star, does it automatically put a new one? No, it doesn't. Um, so I think I can just write it this way, right? So the second one is you drive UI from a model. use a model instance to store the UI data so that you can recreate the UI state quickly and have layer of separation between the data access and the front-end UI, right? So this is the thing, right? And I think there was a shortcut for this. Control M, Control P. There we go. Fantastic. Right. So these are the two principles. Mm, the architecture. So, okay, this is basically this diagram, which I can just, I think, copy this and paste image should be there, right? Is that not? Okay, I think that's, there we go, right? So, mm, right, so basic architecture is this, right? So this is basically, this is what that looks like. I mean, right now it's in, um, if I just put it on default light, I think, and okay. It still kind of wants, I don't know why it wants to use dark background for that, but sure, whatever. There we go. Mind me later. I don't want to give feedback on VS Code right now. Okay. So it does this. I actually hope, wait, what is live right now is my actual, yeah, it's not the break page, right? Fuck, that would be disastrous. Twitch, show player. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's fine. Cool, 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 cool. Okay. So, the chat window is also too wide. I have to kind of change the. Yeah, I'll do that later. Okay, so what's happening, right? So this is the basic recommended architecture as such. Um, and the salient points like basically are have layer between your also are we using four spaces? And then using tab size, right? Yeah, okay. I think I should probably change that in settings. Your settings, um, indent, auto indent, detect indentation. Yes, I do want to detect indentation, but I want the default to be tabs. Insert spaces, overridden based on the file contents. When yeah, so I don't want to like use spaces by default. I kind of want it to use tabs by default. I should turn on settings sync actually. I don't know why I don't. It would have been helpful, like when I moved to workbench tree, wrapping indent, indentation of wrap file seam, Docker compose YAML. Um, that's fine. I don't think any of those need to be changed. Insert spaces when pressing tab, that's off. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's about it. All right. So have a layer between your what was it? Um okay, so have to abstract away the mm, abstract away the data sources. Mm, example, database network, right? And control all data access to this, all right? And do they have like a thing for the repository, like a link which talks about it? Architecture components, data layer libraries. Okay, so these are libraries. Yes, that one. Right click, toggle hyperlink. There we go. Right. So, and right. So if I write something here and I do a control K, control B, control M, control B, sorry, right? So it does, okay. It does that, but it sort of like leaves the, okay. I got it. I got it. What if I type something now and do, okay. I have to do it twice. It toggles it. Ah, I see. Okay. That kind of works out. Cool. Why is this blue? Hang on. Let me close that, reopen it. Yeah, okay. It was blue. There was a blue line there and that was bothering me. Okay. So, yeah, so we need that. We need, what's that? Abstract away data sources. Use view model. Oh, shit. Mm, Live data 3. Okay. Fetch data. What is it called? Access data present in. No, 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 no. Define a view model for each um, view layer entity and, and add. Mm, So again, view model itself is a hyperlink, and that is going to be view model copy link. Come on, man. Right. Was there a what did it say? Like when I enter to okay, enter to confirm or escape to cancel. Okay, cool. So view model, right? So this is there. Mm, right. So file fragment. View model provides the data for a specific UI component. Mm, yeah. So the user profile view model is this stuff. By the way, KT is not present. Huh? Um, AM. Kotlin is not a language which I have. So extensions, Kotlin, syntax highlighting and more. Let's review. 3.5 stars. That's it. But is this the one that I need? I think it's this one, right? Kotlin language support. Why is this at the top? Who's FWCD? Mm, do do we have like reviews or something? I mean, okay, the language server has a problem, I guess, but I'll tell you what, I'll install this for now, and I will use the other one later. So if I close that and reopen it, I think it should be fine. No. What does this look like? Review. Okay, so we do see, for some reason this isn't loading. Assets, images, this isn't loading in the Dendron preview for some reason. Why? Mm, slash? Let's get that. It's not good. Mm, I don't know what's happening. For some reason, it doesn't show. Lol, I'm in some stupid ass self-help class in uni. Oh my god. That's weird. Like, I mean, why do they have. Huh. They make you guys. Okay, so I have to write Kotlin, not KT. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Why do they make you guys, like, sit for. Okay, self-help? Okay. Like, of what sense? In what sense? Indoctrination session. Um, like, at least like so when I was in 11th and 12th, like we had, oh, see you. Yeah, have fun, man. Okay, so this is just introduced, so this is obviously a pointless snippet. I just wanted to test that out. So writing KT doesn't help. It's Kotlin that I have to write. Okay, unfortunate, but it's fine. It's fine, I can deal with that. mm, okay, user profile fragment. Can I just write this and expect it to work? No, it doesn't. Okay, I have to write Kotlin. Okay, I'm okay with that. Mm, to use the view models extension function, blah blah blah, include Android fragment KTX latest version in your app. So, okay, the latest version part has to be edited, of course. In your modules build creator file by view models. Okay, on create view, main fragment container false. We have these code modules. How do we connect them? When user field is set in the user profile view model class, we need a way to inform the UI. To obtain our user, the view model needs to access the fragment arguments. We can either pass them from the fragment, or better, using the saved state module, we can make our view model read the argument directly. This is the part that I didn't really get last time I read it. Like, it's like your view model needs to access the fragment arguments. Why? Wouldn't you be passing in the user to the view model rather than the other way around, that the view model fetches it from the fragment. Instead of that, like, wouldn't the fragment be actively passing in the user to the view model? That's because that's the fragment is the one that holds the reference to the view model. The fragment holds the reference to the view model and not the other way around. The view model should never hold a reference to the fragment. So, but the view model itself can be initialized. Oh, I see. So you just need a way to initialize the view model. So to initialize it, you have saved instance state. Okay. And this in the constructor, and this kind of gives you, it extends view model. Um, and in the fragment, all you need to do is you need to pass factory producer equals, what the hell is factory producer? Where are you using this? Mm, Elsewhere, I guess. We need to inform our fragment when the user object is obtained. This is where the live data architecture component comes in. Live data is an observable data holder. hmm it's also lifecycle aware. So yeah. hmm Using a library like RxJava, you can continue using them instead of live data. When you use libraries and approaches like these, make sure to handle your app's lifecycle properly. Is there a Do I have a today for this? Oh, that was a while ago. Um, Edit command. I don't know if this works. It's supposed to, but I don't know if this works. Um, right. Maybe it's edit command exclamation today. Copy, paste that. Let's do it this way. Oh, it's exclamation today. I see. Why do I need the exclamation there? That's stupid. Okay. All right. So, okay. Probably should make a note of that. I don't really have like a separate workspace. I think that's something I should probably, yeah, take care of later on. Should have a personal notes workspace for stuff like this. Um, for now, let me just put that in an inbox somewhere. Um, just create like a notepad thing. So that's edit command, exclamation command. Okay, cool. So I can do that from right here. That's good. I also have exclamation PC, which kind of gives a link to what uh, like my system specs are. Um, okay. So to incorporate live data into our app, we change the field type in user profile view model to live data user. Mm, User profile fragment is informed when the data is updated. Furthermore, because the live data field is lifecycle aware, it automatically cleans up references after they're no longer needed. I see. Okay. Now we modify user profile fragment to observe the data and update the UI. Override fun on view created. Um, Blah blah blah. Mm, Every time the user profile data is updated, the on-change callback is invoked and the UI is refreshed. Does this actually? Oh yeah, it's able to tell you what the destination is. That's good. Mm, Every time the user profile data is updated, the on-change callback is invoked and the UI is refreshed. So, so in the fragment, you basically update on view created to observe view model.user.observe view lifecycle owner update UI. So there's an observe method which you kind of have to provide, like it has two parameters. It tells you what the lifecycle owner is. So view lifecycle owner, I suppose, comes in from the fragment itself. Um, in a nutshell, view lifecycle owner is tied to when the fragment has and loses its UI. On create view, on destroy view, this is tied to on create, on destroy, which may be substantially longer. How to get rid of it? Mm-hmm. Retro, what's up? Yeah, I am streaming after a long time. Like I started 2 days ago, on the 16th, and before that, my previous stream was in August. It was on August 25th. So it's been like 4 months in the middle, something like that. So yeah, long time, super long time, super long time. This is like a new. It's a new. I'm running on a new PC in a new apartment. Lots of things have changed in the middle. So yeah, how am I doing? I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. Actually doing really good. Like it was a rough few months in the middle. Like my work was super busy, but now we're back to it being relatively okay. Especially towards the end of the year, is generally a lot less stressful. So yeah. But otherwise, yeah, I'm doing really well. Bangalore is really cold right now. It's raining a lot. It's kind of annoying. But apart from that, like it's great. Like yeah. So yeah, I'm in a one BHK now. It's a separate apartment. Like before this, I was in a sharing arrangement with like in like a three BHK with like three people. But then due to those folks moving out, like so one of them, my previous flatmate, he went to Germany. So I just sort of shifted to a one BHK. So yeah. I'm coming to Bangalore next year. Oh, fantastic. Nice, nice, nice. It's a good city. It's a great city. It's like, especially working from home, I feel like Bangalore is perfect because the worst part of Bangalore is the traffic, and you don't really have to deal with the traffic if you're working from home. So win-win. The weather is really good. So yeah, like right now it's really cold though. Like I mean, at least for me, I've grown up in like hot climates my entire life. So for me, like this is like super cold. Right now it's like I don't know what the weather is like. This is kind of where I live. Don't dox me. 21 degrees right now, which I'm finding incredibly cold, especially considering it's like raining most of the time. It was raining this morning. It's raining most of the time, so because of that, like it feels even colder. So yeah, I just have the fans off and everything. So, but yeah, it's been a while. How you doing, man? How you doing? 21 is a bit cold. Yeah, that's what I tell people. But then I don't know. It's sort of like a lot of the folks I speak with online aren't really from India, so it's sort of like or they're from like North India and stuff, where it gets a lot colder and they're like, that's nothing. That's the, and like for some people, this is like they consider this as warm weather. I'm like, what are you talking about? So, but yeah, for me, it's pretty freaking cold. Like the tile floors are like cold enough that I try to keep my feet off of them. So it says 21, but it feels a lot colder than that. I don't know. No, I try and look at life cycle owners. I think there was some YouTube video which I'd seen about this stuff. I don't recall. There was some sort of YouTube video I'd seen about this a while ago. Mhm. View lifecycle owner as the lifecycle owner. Maybe it was this. Might have been this. There was some. There was a video I'd seen earlier which it's shown this sort of like timeline for a fragments thing, and they kind of went like, was it this one? I don't think it was this one. Where they were talking about why you need to kind of use the fragments views lifecycle and not the fragment itself. I feel like this was not the one I was looking at. It was something else. Uh, compose. The problem with Android is like it's kind of advanced a lot, like way too much at this point, and it's very hard for me to tell like what. Uh, yeah, it wasn't this video, that's for sure. It wasn't this video, but I'd seen one which kind of had a full sort of like it had this long timeline. I've switched to Flutter completely now. Yeah, I mean, if so, I think like if I were actually making an app for the sake of making the app, I would probably use Flutter or something else. Like I don't know what the best, I don't know what the best options are, but I think I'd use anything other than native Android development. The reason I'm doing native Android development is really because it's the best way to get really comfortable with Kotlin and also with sort of all of the different architectural models because it's just Android is a really constrained environment. So if you're trying to like write your apps from scratch on Android, it's sort of like you have relatively little compute power, you have relatively little memory, you have a lot of different devices which scale differently, which have different, user interfaces, different screen sizes, and all that stuff, right? And of course, like some phones which you don't really have compatibility with certain APIs and things. So overall, it's very challenging to be able to write an app that works everywhere, right? So just the simple act of writing an app that works everywhere and you're able to write it in a way that's non-hacky and that you can actually make changes on and keep evolving, keep developing over time is a serious challenge. So I feel like it's a good way to learn. That's kind of the reason why I'm going down the Android route. Otherwise, like I have actually no reason to do this at all. Like personally, not really super into Android as a whole. Like I feel like, again, I feel like this is one of those things which I'm gonna spend time on learning right now, and then I'm gonna more or less have to relearn at some point anyway, like, in the future. But if it comes down to it, I think yeah, that's obviously you have the added advantage with Flutter and other such platforms. You have the added advantage of writing the writing the code once and then having it work on multiple platforms. So you can have it work on Android and iOS. You lose a bit of power with that because some level of flexibility, some stuff which you can do on Android, it'll be harder. Like it won't really be possible to do using Flutter because that's usually what happens, right? When the trade-off is always you lose a little bit of power for the like power, in other words, control, right, over the exact sort of stuff that the UI can do and things like that. You will sort of be beholden to the Flutter API, right, and not the underlying Android API, which will offer a lot more flexibility. But at the same time, you don't have to deal with the complexity of it, and you have to code it once, and you get it to work on iOS and potentially other platforms as well. So Definitely better if you were actually making an app, especially if the app is simple and doesn't require too much. So yeah, difficult to implement functions that are closer to the system like sensors, etc. in Flutter. Yes, of course, of course. So there would be certain trade-offs that you'll make, but I guess at the end of the day, I feel like this whole route is not really the ideal approach anyway. Like if you can, most apps I think really should just be web apps or websites, because I find it's very annoying these days when on phone you go into pretty much anything and they ask you to install the app, right? I'm like, make a fucking website, man. I don't want to install an entire application just to use your service for 5 minutes, right? Like, come on, it's stupid. Like, I don't know. Most things want you to install the app these days because I don't know. I guess they get more telemetry, they get more information on the users if you install the app. I suppose I don't really know. Also, there's some sort of like psychological, lock-in sort of thing, right? Like it's like if it's just a website, you can just close it. But if it's an app, you need to uninstall it, which is a much more I wouldn't say a much more tedious process, but it's definitely something that sort of weighs on the mind a little bit more, right? When you uninstall an app, it's like a big move, right? As compared to just closing a tab on a website. So I guess that's the reason why a lot of these like Reddit and other, like social networks and all, like if you've tried visiting Reddit's mobile website these days, they exhort you to use the app like at all times. Like it's sort of like you keep getting a pop-up saying like, do you want to open this in the app, do you want to open this in the app? They don't let you use the website at all. Like it wasn't that way before. Like the mobile website was perfectly fine before. They've butchered it on purpose because they want you to install the app, because that's what sort of guarantees them a little more sort of user security in a certain sense, like in the sense that they are secure that the user is going to stay on the platform, right? It just gives them that sort of like, retention. That's the right word. It gives better retention for them, right? You're not going to install, use the app for 5 minutes and uninstall the app, but you might open the website for 5 minutes and then close the website and never open it again. So that's the reason. That's also why like Instagram prevents you from seeing photos and too much stuff when you're logged out, even though that information is completely public. It doesn't let you see a lot of it if you're logged out. It forces you to log in after you've seen like 5 or 6 pictures or something. Forces you to log in because that's basically how they pad their retention stats. So yeah, you know, it's like also the reason why a lot of subscription services will make you call to cancel. While you can subscribe in 5 minutes online, they'll make you call to cancel. The FTC, it's that was some recent news, by the way. The FTC is making that illegal. So like a lot of news websites and all that have that problem where you have to call them and speak with an actual human with your voice on the phone to get them to cancel the subscription. But signing up for the subscription is super easy. You can do that online in like a couple of minutes. If you have your credit card, it's just instant, right? So signing up, they make it super easy, and like backing out, they make it harder. This is kind of like the usual pattern. So yeah. Anyway, so I feel like even Flutter and all that stuff, it's only if like you really need to make an app, but otherwise like you should just probably go ahead make it in a website or something. So oh yeah, it's the whole reason I'm going through this because it's just better for learning Kotlin. I feel like yeah. Mm, injectors, hilt, how to create instances. Okay, wait. I kind of skipped ahead. Where was I? Um, fetch data. So I was somewhere over here, right? Yeah. So you update this, the view model, lifecycle of a view model. We kind of need to figure that out. Mm, live data to connect the user profile view model to the fragment. How can we fetch the user profile data? So that comes in from the web service, which itself is sort of wrapped into the repository. So the repository accesses the web service and might implement a caching layer in the middle, because right now this particular implementation doesn't have caching, but you can cache it. So you don't have to perform this get user over and over. You can actually store it in a local data structure or like some sort of like persistent in-memory cache. So that way, like you don't really have to do it very frequently. So yeah. User repository uses this. Okay, repository module looks unnecessary, but it serves an important purpose. That much is known. Okay. Mm, dependencies between components. The repository needs an instance of web service, but the web service could be reused elsewhere and a lot of stuff. So dependency injection is ideally what you need. Recommend following the dependency injection patterns and using the Hilt library in Android apps. Hilt automatically constructs objects by walking the dependency tree, providing compile time guarantees on dependencies, and creates dependency containers for Android framework classes. This is fantastic, actually. Um, the fact that like you have dependency containers created even for Android framework classes, like they've actually modified Dagger to work very well with Android specifically, which I think is good. Like it's definitely a good thing. I'll have to go over Hilt. Okay, so it comes as part of the guide itself. I think I'll eventually get there. But yeah, it's a good thing they're all sort of organized here. So yeah, view model and the repository. Mm, so Hilt view model. Okay, so that this is the annotation for it. At inject constructor. So the constructor takes in a saved state handle and a user repository. Um, so that gets injected automatically at like sort of like at compile time really. Like it just makes all the bindings for you. So you don't really have to actually initialize any of this, which is great. Okay, so view model, UID, mutable live data user, val user, live data user. So this one is sort of the private underlying user thing inside mutable live data. Do you know anything about Walmart? I got a job offer from them. Is it any good? Oh yeah. I mean, friend of mine did work at Walmart. If you want, I can connect you to him. Um, I don't know if he's still working there. He might still be working there actually. Uh, yeah. So it is good. It's definitely good. Like Walmart is super competitive. I think like they they offer on the scale of Amazon, if I remember right. Like so, but yeah, I don't know the exact details, but yeah, Flipkart is owned by Walmart in India, by the way. So it's yeah, I think it's definitely good. I think it's definitely good. If you got a job offer, I think you should take it. Like assuming you don't have like better job offers, which are competing with that. But you should be having like if you got the offer already, you should really be having more details by this point on like what the job is like what exactly is the job role, as well as like what are they offering. So you should have that info, I think. I can connect you with a friend of mine who either does work there right now or did work there. I don't remember whether he's still working there or not. He might still be working there. I have to ask him. I have a very poor memory for this kind of stuff. So yeah, I have to ask him. Most likely he's still working there. So yeah, I can reach out to him and sort of like give him your contact. If you're fine with that, you can message me on Discord or on Telegram. I'm Mindstormer619 on both. Um, the Discord link is this one, so you can just find me there. Um, so yeah, if you're there on Discord, if you're not there on Discord, I am. My username is the same on Telegram as well. Um, details about the role. You want to learn about the environment. So yeah, I think it will be best if you speak to my friend. Yeah, so you can text me on Discord. I think I'll connect you with him. So. mm, Let's see. Okay, so user ID string, this. Val user, live data user. Mm, so wait, why do we have? So okay, here's where we launch the coroutine for being able to sort of fetch the user, right? So here, okay, so we just set user dot value equals repository. Okay, so dot value is just the underlying user variable, right. Okay. And we want this one to be mutable so that we can actually set this, and the other one is immutable so you can only read the value, you can't set it, is what I'm assuming, right? So it's sort of like it's an interface on top of like this user, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. User repository relies only on one data source. It's not very flexible. User repository is that after it fetches the data, it doesn't store that data anywhere. Must refetch the data. It's suboptimal, wastes network bandwidth, forces the user to wait for a new query to complete. So we add a new data source to our repository, which caches it in memory. So user repository, we inject the web service and we inject a simple in-memory cache, details omitted for brevity. Okay, fine. So we assume there's a magical user cache at this point, but of course, like that'll have its own implementation. And this sort of gets in cached user cache get user ID, cache not equal to null, return cached. Okay, wait, val. Okay. If it's not null, then you just return it. But otherwise, yeah, it's still suboptimal, but better than before. Complete implementation also handles error cases, of course. You get it, you put it in the cache, and then you return the fresh user. Okay, cool. So add inject by doing that, like it's just hilt magically handles everything else, right? So persist data using our current implementation. If the user rotates, the existing UI will become visible instantly because the repository retrieves data from our in-memory cache. What if he leaves the app and comes back hours later after the Android OS has killed the process? We need to fetch data again from the network. Refetching isn't just a bad user experience, it is also wasteful because it consumes valuable mobile data. You could fix the issue by caching the web request, but it creates a new problem. What happens if the same user data shows up from another type of request, such as fetching a list of friends? Mm, Inconsistent data, which is confusing at best. Two different versions of the same user's data if the user made a list of friends request and the single user request at different times. We need to figure out how to merge this inconsistent. Okay. Persistent model, room persistence library. Okay. ORM with local data persistence. Compile time, it validates each query with your data schema. So broken queries result in compile time errors instead of runtime failures. Yep. Abstracts away some of the underlying implementation details. Okay. Explicitly defines execution constraints that address common threading issues such as accessing storage on the main thread. Okay. Mm, Entity primary key. Yeah, I remember some of the stuff. Yeah. User database is abstract. Room provides an implementation for it. Insert user data into the database. Insert. Okay. Query. Okay. hmm Flow with room allows you to get live updates. Each time there's a change in the user table, a new user will be emitted. Invalidations based on table modifications. It may dispatch false positive notifications. Interesting. hmm What is this? Oh, this is all the way here. Observable queries. Okay. Mhm. Wait. Mm, Now you just inject in. I don't know what the executor is, but where is that being used? Nowhere. Nowhere? I don't know what this executor thing is. It's not actually being used anywhere in this code snippet. That's so weird. Okay. Add user flow object directly from the database. Okay. Refresh user if the user DO has user, fresh timeout. If the user doesn't exist, then we refresh the data and we save it. And then we always return the, yeah, user DO has user, fresh timeout. Don't you have to pass the user ID for this? Like if you want to see if this user was, because you're only fetching one user at a time, right? Save response body. Yeah, for has user, don't you require a damn, there's no has user. They've abstracted away a lot of this stuff, and the example isn't even perfectly correct. Like even from like an interface standpoint, like I understand you don't like specify the implementations of everything. That's okay, but has user needs to have two things. It needs to have the user ID as well. Without the user ID, you can't really tell like which user got fetched to when. Okay. Get user returns an object of flow user. You need to update to handle the new type. So as live data. That's all. Okay. Life cycle live data KTX. So it just sort of like has an extension method on top of flows. So you can transform it into a live data, which is what you require to be served from like to your UI, because live data is the only component that's lifecycle aware. So I think it's for the logged in user. Mm, not really, right? Considering so the whole example was sort of predicated around the fact that, like, let's say for example, you are trying to fetch multiple users, or you're trying to fetch like your friends, list of friends and all that stuff. So you're just trying to get like some users' data, right? And you are passing in the user ID for that. No, it's just that this example is incomplete. Like if you see user DAO's implementation, the interface only has save and load. It doesn't really have a has user at all. So they've sort of missed out on a few things here. I think there would be a complete example at the end somewhere, like potentially like some GitHub URL would be there which has a complete example end to end. But so far, I haven't really seen anything. So yeah, but I think this is, it's not exactly correct. They're just trying to give you sort of an idea of how you want to do things. That's it. Days 1 day to millisecond. Huh? Time unit days to millis one. Hmm. So if it's more than a day old, it'll refresh. Okay. I feel like a day is too much time, but okay. Mm, single source of truth. Wait, so I think I just skipped past something. Yeah, yeah, no, I was right here. Even though you change when the data comes in for user repository, you didn't need to change user profile fragment. Of course, that makes sense. Also great for testing. You can provide a mock instance of user repository and test your production user profile view model at the same time. So you need to test the view model, but you shouldn't really be writing tests for your views because your views kind of interact with the user directly. So it's sort of like the end thing. So you don't really bother writing tests for the views, but that means that you need to make your views as dumb as possible. Like your views should have no logic at all. But your view models can be tested, should be tested. If the users wait a few days, it's likely they'll see out of date information until the repository can fetch updated information. You can should display placeholder data currently fetching blah blah. Okay. I think in this case, would it actually? Oh yeah, it would, right? Because it instantly returns, because these are all coroutines. So it instantly returns the existing data, I suppose. Like it would return the flow object, and the flow object would initially have what value? That's the question. Um, has user if the user doesn't exist. User.save response body double exclamation, because yeah, you need to check for errors, of course. So you need to make sure that response is not null before you even go into this. So at that point, like Yeah. I suppose if you do some null checks, you don't have to specify this. Like Kotlin is intelligent enough to figure out that you've already done a null check. So user.load returns an object of flow user. A new user object is emitted every time there's a change in the user table. Yep, yep. So by default, what's emitted, I suppose, is just whatever user currently exists. But then once the update happens, then it automatically goes and emits the new user. In which case, that live data pings the on change thing and then it just changes on its own. But instead, you can display placeholder data, okay, which I think is a better approach in this case at least. Different REST API endpoints to return the same data. If our backend has another endpoint that returns a list of friends, same user object could come from two different API endpoints. In progress operations, pull to refresh, test each component. Ah, okay. So the testing stuff is left. Okay. Um, Along with being able to show in progress stuff. Okay, cool. So we'll come back to this. We'll come back to this on the next stream. It is pretty late for me. I kind of have to go get started with work. I will catch you guys on the next stream, uh, which should be tomorrow. So yeah, we're back to daily streams basically, excepting certain situations where I'm, either busy or outside. Like apart from that, like yeah, back to daily streams, half an hour to an hour each day. Apart from the weekends where I will be streaming for longer. So yeah, that's about it as usual. That's sort of the Discord link. Um, Feel free to join for any updates on when I stream. That's usually where I post when I go live. So yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks for being here. Bye bye.